Hey guys, Paul Capozio here. Just want to do a few odds and ends. I'm on my way to Reading, Pennsylvania, if I'm driving correctly. And we're going to be doing a live event in Reading, Pennsylvania tonight. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. I think 5:30. We're going to be meeting at 5:30 and do a meet and greet, hang out a little bit, get to know some people, do some one-on-one training. So if you're in the area and you want to get some one-on-one time with myself, Joe O, Eric Sturkin, Frank Marone as a surprise is going to be there. We will be in Reading, Pennsylvania at Chef Allen's in West Reading, Pennsylvania. So Chef Allen's in West Reading, Pennsylvania. So, if you guys that are into that, please come. We'd like to see you there. We'd like to meet you. We'd like to also meet your prospects. So if you have never been to a live opportunity meeting, what we do at a live opportunity meeting is we talk about the company, we talk about our personal experiences, and we talk about the ways to build the business, and we talk about the compensation plan. So it's good to see it live. And those of you who have been on live calls with me, or I've done 3-ways with you, I kind of do a verbal version of the pay plan, and we talk about the retail side, and we talk about getting to coach and the 5 different ways we get paid in the business. But to see it done live, and we use a whiteboard and we have a video presentation, it's pretty interesting because you can visualize what's going on. And one of the building blocks of this business is what we like to refer to as a triad, right? Sorry, my son was calling me. You put one person on your left, one person on your right, and you start building, right? So if you consider, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. He keeps calling me. If you consider the triad, one person on the top, one person left, one person right, and you continue to build those triads, you sponsoring one person, helping that person get 2, one left and one right, and that other person getting one left and one right, as complicated as it may seem to build a binary, it's really just a duplication of this triad. It's you and then 2. And then if you look at these triangular shapes that keep forming in the pay plan beneath you on your left and your right, and you basically just isolated any one 3-person group, you'll see that it's a very, very simple building block. What's also interesting about that pyramid shape, or that triangular shape, is that it's a very strong shape if you know anything about geometry. So there's a lot of method to that math. So I apologize for all the interruptions, but hey Nick, I saw you just saw the live. Tell Mom I'll call you guys back as soon as I'm done with this live. So understand that it's a simple building block of you plus 2, and then those people build 2, but it's the same building block again, duplicating over and over and over again. And that leads me to what I want to talk about today, especially to my group, as far as when we sponsor someone new, we're missing a couple of the basic fundamentals of this business. And one of the fundamentals is a list, right? We know the way to build and grow the business and to introduce it is by showing the video, is by doing a 3-way call and inviting people into the pages. But what happens after that? You really need to sit down with your people. You need to talk to the people who are genuinely interested in building the business, right? And sit down with them and literally make a list. Hey Liz, how are you? How are things out there? When you make that list, that physical list, I like to do it with my distributors. I like to sit down with them if they're open to it and literally write a list down and think of the people. And I would do 2 lists. One list is the list that they have no trouble contacting, and another one is called the chicken list. And the chicken list are, who are those people that you would deeply desire to be in your business, but you're too chicken to call them, right? Or you think it may be beneath them to do network marketing. Well, thank God someone didn't think that about me, because being a businessman and having a large staffing company and worked for, I was responsible for $1.5 billion in revenue in a company I worked for before I went on my own. But this is the greatest thing I've ever found in my life. I mean, I've never seen an opportunity that I can get involved with, that I could help other people grow, help other people make money. If you listen to my call the other night with Chris Cavadon, We talked about the difference where, you have a cutthroat business environment where your competitors or people in the same business would do anything to cut your throat. And here we are, and I'm noticing people on this live right now that are not in my direct line of sponsorship, and I'm more than happy to give them information on how to grow their business. So we're all pulling in the same direction. So what I ask you to do, if you're new to the business, or even if you've been doing it a while and you have some people down below you, and I know you multi-level marketing guys call this tap rooting. I just like to call it working the business. But what taprooting is you want to reach down to those people and start helping them build their list and contact those people. Look, what are the odds? Hey, Dale, what are the odds that every single person you sponsored is going to be a superstar? No, not really. Doesn't happen that way. But they may introduce you to that superstar. So it's important for us to work down with them. Some people are just, not salespeople, right? They just don't feel comfortable in that environment, but yet they really appreciate the product. They really appreciate what the product is doing for them. So look, if you've done something as simple as recommended a movie, you can do this, but they may not be comfortable initiating that phone call. A couple of tips and tricks, right? So here's a tip. What's working for me with people is, hey, have you heard about this gel thing yet? For some reason, it creates a response out of almost 100% of the people I text it to. Even if I'm contacting someone through social media and I just ask them if they've heard about the gel thing, regardless of what their answer is, if they have, great. Did you see the video? No, great, let me send it to you. And if you haven't, obviously we all know what to do. But let's get back to taprooting for a second. So you're in the business, you sponsored 5, 10 people, or you've sponsored 2 and they've sponsored a few. Well, what's your next step? Well, your next step is to get on the phone with those people that you sponsor. Just don't leave them hanging, right? We want to work in our businesses. We want to help our people down below. We make what we get what we want by helping other people get what they want. So now work with them. Physically get on the phone or physically be with them at a location, and you have a piece of paper and they have a piece of paper. And you want them to say, look, who's the first person you thought of for this business? Great, let's write it down. Who's the second person you thought of? Now, why we want to write a physical list, and I know people make fun of us and say that's so old school, and if you want to do this on an Excel spreadsheet or you want to do it in your phone, you can. I personally think by having someone physically old school write out a list makes them think about that person, makes them think about the interactions they have with them. It brings up memories of what they've experienced with the person. Maybe you vacationed with someone. I have a distributor who said, I went to Mexico with this couple, like 8 years ago. This was a reason for me to contact them again, because all we were talking about is, hey, let's hope we can do this again when we're in our 80s, right? Well, here we have a product that'll help us do that. So it's the perfect opportunity to call that couple that you partied with in Mexico, or you're in Puerto Rico with, or you met when you're in Europe, or wherever you may have been, and their number's in your phone, so you could reach out to them. But what taprooting is you going down, working with that people, building that list, helping them make those calls. And if someone is a little bit of chicken, well, you could literally be to say, look, let's get together. I'll meet your house Thursday night and we'll make 10, 15 phone calls. Or we could do it together on the phone. I'll be on the phone with you. Come on, let's dial a few people, right? Or introduce me to them and let me do the call for you. That's the purpose of a 3-way call. Sometimes bringing a third party into the equation makes such a big difference for people. I have people who are friends of mine that they find it's very easy to tell me or make a joke or to avoid it. But when you bring that third party in, there's a little bit more attention. Their attention span increases a little bit. 1, out of respect for that new person, and 2, you don't have that personal relationship with them. So, you're going to sit up and take a little bit of notice. But they will thank you for it. They will appreciate that you're the person who introduced them to this concept. And if you understand how your upline works, you're going to sponsor that person. That person's going to be beneath you. You're going to build your left side and your right side, and you're going to go on to the next level, which makes it easier. I think sometimes for people, we teach them in the first 24 to 48 hours, get your first 2, because it gets you in a mindset. It gets you into a state of momentum, and you can appreciate it. Look, we're seeing something that I've never seen in business before, with such a high closing ratio. And if you don't know what a closing ratio is, very simple. If you introduce a product or service to for 10 people and you close one of them, we have a 10% closing ratio. And if you introduced this product or a service to 10 people and 9 of them got involved, well, it's a 90% closing ratio. And that's all we mean. And I'm noticing that for the people who have seen the video, who have been enrolled in the the pages on Facebook, the men's and women's testimonial pages, I find that the people who engage in a 3-way call that have seen those two things are almost at 90%. Because they know what they're getting into. They've already seen the video. They've already been in the Facebook pages you only need to be in some of these Facebook testimonial pages for a day, and you've probably seen 5 testimonials posted that day, or a comment on a testimonial, of someone who was having an experience, and then a month later someone else comments on it and wants them to elaborate on it. So that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us. It's a really simple business to build. So think about working with your people. Think about them developing 2 lists, the chicken list and their first thought of list. And by the way, and I mentioned this on some of my calls, your list should be growing by 20 people a day. And that list can grow simply by thinking about the girl in line at Whole Foods, the checkout girl, or the guy that works behind the bar I go to for to watch the Giant game on a Sunday, and you may not even know their name, but they should be added to your list. And think about if you added 20 people to your list a day in a month with 30 days in it, how many people are on your list by the end of the month? So if you could do some quick math, you will have hundreds and hundreds of people on a list if you just devote 10, 15 minutes a day. I'm going to be driving to Reading, Pennsylvania. And if I stop into a store or I stop into a chiropractor's office, I pull into a strip mall, I'll grab a card from that chiropractor. I'll grab a card and say, hey, I stopped in on my way to Reading. You look like you have a really nice office there, and I just wanted to comment on how nice your office looked. And if I'm ever in the area again, I'd like to stop by for an adjustment. And by the way, here's what I'm working on. So there are many different ways to approach people with this product, but the idea is to approach people. If you're not approaching people, you're not making new friends, then you're not going to be able to build a business. It's just as simple as that. We can't just sit home and buy a distributorship and hope by osmosis it's going to grow. There has to be a little effort. It's not hard work at all. By any means, it's not hard work. But it does take some consistency. So I'll ask you to get consistent and start getting out of your comfort zone a little bit. There's no reason that the next person you meet in line at the grocery store could not possibly turn out to be your next best friend, right? So if you have that mindset, that open-mindedness, you will increase the ability to grow this business, and you'll also increase your friends, right? We all know people that, who's that guy that or that girl that that is very popular, that knows so many people. Everybody knows. I have a guy, my best friend Shai, he just makes friends with everyone everywhere he goes. He was one of the first people I thought about for this business, because he's just that guy. Well, find those guys. We all like to be around them, right? The other thing is negativity. I'm going to close with this because I don't want to keep you guys on too long, because I have a 2-hour ride. You guys are, probably working or whatever. But and obviously, if you haven't, realized, I can go on forever. But negativity, guys. So think about this. We act negative about certain aspects of this business, and we get frustrated with things, right? So how do you expect a positive result with a negative attitude? It just doesn't work, It's so square peg, round hole, but we don't realize how easy it is for us to watch the news and get into a negative mindset, and then we want to go out and build a business. Guys, listen, turn the TV off. Buy a different newspaper, don't buy a newspaper at all, and invest in yourself, invest in personal development. Watch Tony Robbins videos. And it used to be years ago that you had to buy a book and you had to buy these courses, and so much is available via YouTube for free that we could watch. So you could spend an hour watching the news, regardless of what news channel you prefer. You could spend an hour, and I don't care if you watch CNN or Fox News or CNBC. Well, I kind of like CNBC because of the stock market, but and you're going to walk away in a bad mood, right? But meanwhile, if you happen to listen to personal development, you're going to leave in a positive frame of mind. So what is that doing for you in the long run, right? Getting upset, being in a negative mindset. It puts you at ill ease, right? Not at ease, at ill ease, and it's going to affect your ability to worry about your family, right? So let's stop with the negativity. We've reached so many great milestones in this business. People don't realize it. The people coming in today, and one or two people may have gotten a double bill because they clicked the buy button twice, or they may have put somebody in the wrong space, and it may take them a day or so to get in touch with customer service. Well, personally, I've seen that all improve. And if you were here in the beginning, like some of the early adopters were, we were in back in December. It was crazy, guys. We built this business. Linda and I went ambassador with the 59. If you don't know what the 59 thing is, your sponsor will tell you. But we built this business to Diamond Ambassador level with no product and no credit cards. Right? And now we have credit cards, we have product. We have some customer service delay times, but when we do get customer service, they're able to fix problems. So, I was fortunate enough to meet with some of those people. Guys, these customer service people are amazing. They really, really are. You think they don't get beat up by us? I've seen some of the calls coming in, and people do get frustrated, especially after waiting on hold for 30 minutes to an hour, and then get hung up on and have to dial back. And but we call them, and they've been dealing with 60, 70 calls before they even got to you. So trust me, they have a little bit of frustration too. But I've never seen them be nasty. I've never seen that. I've seen them. They wanted something to get out to the masses, and I said this on another live. They have never hung up on any one of you. They wanted me to make sure I spread this message that the phone system, because of the capacity that it had, and they're increasing that every single day, would accidentally, it would get to overload and then shut the lines down, and people would think that they got hung up on mid-sentence by a customer service rep. Absolutely not. They wanted me to make sure to tell you that they've never done that, and they know they've taken a lot of blame for it, but they wanted to make sure I got that message out. So I'll say that again. In fact, I got to make sure I say that on the next couple of lives. So guys, positive attitude. Start taprooting, start going down and working with your people. Identify the people in your organization who got in as a distributor, but they're really a customer, and they may do a few referrals, and find out who that diamond in the rough is. And I literally mean diamond in the rough. Find out those people who just don't necessarily have developed the skills yet, but they have the drive, they have the attitude. There are also people out there who are nervous about making the phone calls. Guys, do it with them. So I'm going to say goodbye right now, otherwise I will. Thank you so much, Brandon. I heard you're doing good, bud. I heard things are starting to pop for you, Brandon. So congratulations. Rocco was telling me that things are moving for you, and I'm very proud. You really engage. Let's give some recognition to Brandon. This guy is engaged in the business. He's learning, he's participating, he is commenting, and he is now starting to grow his business. And that's what it takes, guys. So learn something from Brandon. I don't care if you have 2 people or 2,000 people or 20,000 people in your downline. There are diamonds popping everywhere, and you may not have hit the rank yet, but I know that the spirit is there. And Brandon, I see diamond written all over you. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Sorry I was a little long-winded, but it made my drive a little shorter. So hey, Joe, see you tonight. I'm on my way, actually, bud. See you tonight. Bye-bye.